Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast, and now here's the guy who, like Turner, would struggle to say two nice things about this episode. I am Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Thursday night, 2 hours. It could have been an email, but we're here to recap a double hour of Big Brother here for one eviction, and of course, talk about the split house twist with a great panel that we did a schoolyard pick to get here tonight. Of course, back with us, a man I got to talk some 90 Day Fiance with earlier this week. It's Pooya and Jenny Autumn. Pooya, how are you?
Could be better, Rob. Could be better. But listen, at least the consolation prize is that I was able to be on the Big Brochella edition of the podcast. So thank you for having me in the good spot.
Jerped headlining Big Brochella here tonight. Of course, my co-host of the Claim to Fame recap that everybody is talking about. It's Jenny Autumn.
Yes, you thought we were going to recap the episode. We're going to leave that for like the last 15 minutes of this podcast. And the rest of it is just going to be terrible accents and
yes.
Punkaroo! And I'm going to put some tattoos on.
Mm-hmm.
So. Oh, get ready.
Get ready. Get ready. And of course, back with us, a man who said, look, I'm that you finally found the twist that I like. The only way that they could screw this up is if they let them pick the teams. Here he is. It's Taran Armstrong.
You were supposed to not pick the teams. This is what I'm yelling at you in the storage room, producers. Well, we're mad at each other, and it's only a little bit fake.
Okay.
Acting.
All right. Well, send us in your questions here tonight. We will take them in the chat. Okay. Write your questions in the chat. We will take them later on in the show, as this was just so bizarre. We basically had like a 2-hour veto episode from Wednesday. Didn't even like get into a lot of the things that we could have gotten into from the lead up to the veto, only to have a 2-hour episode that ended with, oh, we're out of time. We're gonna have to come back on Sunday to see what you really came here to see. So sorry about that. And then on a week from tonight, we're gonna see 2 eviction episodes in a 1-hour episode. Pooya, make it make sense.
I really cannot, Rob. I cannot. It makes no sense. The fact that we literally did not even get the vote out until closer to 10:30 is ridiculous. I don't know how we got there. I don't know how we got to see all the punishments, and then at 9:01 they're like, remix. We saw all of them again one more time. What is this time management? And then, yeah, next week is going to be a shambles because we really have 60 minutes to shove 4 speeches, right? 4 speeches, and then 2 evictions, 2 interviews. Where's the time coming from? I don't know. What is this bookkeeping?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, this episode was like Big Brother The Walking Dead edition. Like, let's just waste all of our time and then screw you over on another cliffhanger that you now are just going to be super frustrated about. Like, I just like, didn't they kick that guy? Did he get hired at Big Brother? Is that what happened? I just don't understand.
Walking Dead showrunner is doing Big Brother now?
The guy that ran into the ground. You know his name, not me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Well, we have a lot of time to talk about the episode. I guess let's talk about the headlines at this hour. Here's what we know. We have 2 HOHs. Michael wins another comp. I guess there's no turning back now. Okay. Michael is your indoor HOH, and Terrence is your outdoor HOH.
Like they're cats.
Yes. Yes. Okay. I've got a lot of cat owners here on the panel. Is this a fair comparison?
Yeah. I mean, it's more dangerous for the outdoor cats. There's more prey. You could get run over. Fall
into a pool.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that the Dire Fest will be treacherous.
Yes. Okay. So Terrence is going to be headlining Dire Fest, and we are, I guess, like moments away from the house guests doing a schoolyard pick to determine what they're going to do. How do we project the schoolyard pick going? Taran, do you think that people will be looking to bring in their allies?
Yes and no, right? If you're Michael, your first pick is Brittany because you can keep Brittany safe. Your second pick is Jasmine.
Can we mock the draft if they go back and forth? Now, do we think it's snake draft or we think that goes back? Big Brother's not.
She said schoolyard pick.
Yeah, it's gotta be 1-1-1-1-1. Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm assuming Michael goes first because he won.
Okay. All right. So Michael, we are projecting with the first pick. We'll go with Brittany.
I think so.
Boom, 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 boom.
That makes sense.
All right.
Where's your touch screen?
We're projecting that Terrence with the first overall pick goes who? Jasmine?
This is a little trickier. If he does the same thing as Michael and protects, I think perhaps Jasmine, but I think he might actually go for a target and pick somebody like Monty, thinking I want Monty on my team so that I can target him. I don't want to give Michael the opportunity to protect Monty again.
I mean, is it crazy to take 4 targets? Because basically, I'm HOH. I'm here no matter what next week.
Exactly. And it doesn't give you have no chance of sending home somebody you don't want to send home if you pick all targets. So I think that might be the case. And it's not like Terrence has any like super like solid ties or loyalties to anyone in the house.
Okay.
So.
All right, Michael, if Monty goes off the board, are we good with projecting Monty to Terrence?
Monty, I think, is definitely a possibility. He may also pick Joseph. He picked Joseph to compete against Jasmine in the HOH competition, which was a weird choice. So I could see Joseph also, but
might be tough to mock draft the whole set of 5 and 5 and think we're going to be accurate. I guess the question is, Pooya, that for Terrence, who's his target?
Well, that's an interesting situation to be in if you're Terrence, because obviously there was a moment where Terrence thought he was going to come off the block and that didn't happen. Now, if you ask me 100%, do I think Kyle is in his crosshairs? I'm not 100% sure, to tell you the truth, but I would assume you want. I don't know, Rob. It's Terrence. He yes ended his way here. I have no read on the man.
DJ
He's
Showtime
been in shambles for the last 2 weeks, and now he has power. Like, truly,
am I crazy to be worried about Taylor in this spot if she ends up?
No.
Okay.
Because he could also pick Taylor as his first pick. She just nominated him. He's been gunning for her for a while. I think regardless, if Terrence doesn't choose Jasmine, I think Michael then chooses Jasmine as his second pick. I think Michael is looking to have an easy target that he gets basically no blood on his hands if he targets her. And so he would want her on his team if possible.
Yeah, because if Michael is trying to play the middle, I feel like that this is a tough spot to play the middle from here.
Oh, it's perfect. Because if he picks Jasmine, that was what he wanted anyway. So he can spend a whole week taking out Jasmine while, somebody from the other side probably is going to get sniped by Terrence. Oh, well.
What if Terrence takes Jasmine with the first pick?
Then I think he is forced to take Alyssa, and then things get a little trickier. So that's a pretty big difference for him. But even if he does take Alyssa, he still has options if Alyssa wins the veto, or maybe he then also picks Kyle, who can also use the veto on Alyssa and force him into a situation where a shot again needs to be taken.
I need Terrence to pick Jasmine twofold. One, because it'll be trickier, like Terrence said. Give me trickier for Michael. 2, I need Jasmine to be outside all week. I think that would be phenomenal. I want the mess. Give me that. That would be ideal. Then actually 3, then also pick Turner. Terrence, please.
Turner.
Yes, that's
Jenny,
we need Turner and Jasmine.
Is dying to live outside.
Oh yeah.
He wants this.
He's built for it.
He's built different.
He's conditioned to be out there for sure. Is he conditioned to be stuck outside with Jasmine and only 3 other people for a whole week? I think we might have a quit on our hands. So I don't know how much we should be hoping for this, but it would be very entertaining.
Taran, in addition to them letting them pick the teams, which we weren't crazy about, I feel like that they've left them a lot of time to collude also. And God knows what they're doing while the feeds are out too.
Literally, like every bit of fun speculation in preparation for this twist was thinking about the random combinations that could occur, thinking about all of the different ways that not being able to prepare in any way and not having any contact would impact the game. And then they so clearly had so much time to prepare. At the very least, like a little bit, like, hey, target this person if you have the ability to. Like, the biggest thing for me is, did Kyle have a chance to get to Alyssa and really, warn her. He's been giving her hints here and there, but she really wouldn't have known what to do if he
because
she didn't have any
he could deliver in just a couple of seconds if he needs to.
Quick with the message.
Surgical strike. He can get in, get out. That's his specialty.
I mean, it's multiple times in the time allotted at this point. So
yeah, in, out.
The
so
Flash. Yeah.
The Flash.
Blink and you'll miss
another
it.
sore subject, I think.
How sore? Probably not that
Not
sore,
that sore.
right?
Yeah. So yeah, it seems like that we were so excited because it was like Julie's like the two sides will have no communication. No, they won't know what hit him. They'll be completely radio silence for the whole week. It's like, but we'll just like let them like have some time to mingle for a while before we shut it down.
We see them like muttering to each other, like in the backyard. Like it's just nothing's happening. Like, what is this?
This was so easy. All they needed to do is have them go outside like it was a normal HOH competition. They play it like normal, except every time someone gets evicted, they draw a thing out of a box and it's like covered.
Color.
And they're like, oh, it's some sort of prize, maybe some sort of punishment, maybe.
Right.
And then after the competition ends, final two people they play, and Julie goes, "Congratulations, Michael, for winning this HOH. But first, we have to reveal that Terrence is also an HOH." And then she reveals the twist. And then she has them all open their things. And it says inside or outside or Dire Fest or whatever fest on the other side. And then they quickly shuffle them off into two sides. Zero communication. Like, it's so simple. I don't understand how they screwed it up.
Rob, it could have been like the claim to fame, like picking the balls with the colors and the sea balls.
Sure,
like,
sure.
Why couldn't they have done this?
Could have been very easy to do it that way. But, like the problem with Big Brother production, it's like we start from like, okay, how do we fill 20 minutes on Sunday? And then we like work backwards from there. Like, okay, hole in the show on Sunday. Okay, how do we fill it? Okay. Oh, we'll figure out how to do the draft the teams. That'll be great. That'll fill up some time. And then we go backwards from there. So while what you're saying, Taran, would be much better, like it would be too quick. We got to fill time.
And it's too good of an idea. So it couldn't possibly be done.
Yeah.
But Rob, we didn't even fill time with the picking. They didn't even show it.
Well, they're going to show it on Sunday.
That's going to be the whole Sunday episode.
Yeah, that's
we're just going to push everything forward. We're not even going to get noms until halfway through Wednesday's episode.
Yeah.
They could still show the draw. They like, they do it with the veto draw.
Yeah.
Like, I hope I get this side. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my God, it's that side. I really wanted this side. Oh man, this really sucks. It takes just as long.
No, Jenny, I do think we will get two sets of nominations on Sunday because we have to see two veto comps on Wednesday.
No, that's Thursday, Rob. We don't have things on the same nights anymore.
Well, on Thursday we got to get through two evictions.
No, actually, that's going to be 3 Thursdays from now. We're off. We're just pushing things forward.
Remember, there's another 2-hour episode on the 8th. I think that's when we're going to catch up.
We're going to catch up. It's like, I guess it's maybe Big Brother doesn't get to decide when their 2-hour episodes are going to be because it makes no sense that why they would have the 2-hour episode tonight when they really are going to need it to catch up on everything, because basically whatever we do in a normal week of Big Brother, we have to do double in a week where we don't have more time. And really, we wasted all this time tonight when we really could have used it for next week.
See, Rob, that's where you're wrong. We're not going to do double. We're going to do half of. So each side is going to get half the content they would have gotten on a whole week, which genuinely makes this week of feeds more important than ever, because they're not going to be able to fit anything in these episodes with 2 comps and 2 vetoes, 2 evictions. Sunday, I guess they have some room for the split and then for the intro stuff, but it's going to be a lot of stuff. I just don't see how they're going to squeeze it all out of the episodes.
Yeah.
Let me tell you how it could be good to have 2 vetoes in one episode, because if normally a veto competition lasts 15 to 20 minutes of the episode, if we don't extend the time and we have 2 veto competitions in the same amount of time, 15 to 20 minutes, now we have double the veto in the same amount of time. More exciting to actually watch the veto competition.
Yes.
So I fully expect the veto to last 40 minutes.
Right. They don't have to. Yes. For the whole episode.
Yay.
Oops, all veto. Yeah. What did we think about them having the knockout competition to decide this double HOH? Was this a good idea or bad idea?
In general, it's a bad idea. The knockout competition obviously favors the majority. So again, if we were in a situation where there was a majority alliance running the game, they could have all but guaranteed that the majority alliance controlled both sides of the house by allowing them to just straight up have the numbers to force the outsiders to lose. Obviously, it doesn't always have to play out that way. As we just saw, we did see in a quote unquote outsider win one of these HOHs. But if you're going to talk about an HOH that favors the majority, it's definitely this one.
The combination of a knockout comp and then a schoolyard pick, like this really, really could have turned into like a very obvious steamroll situation. So I guess we're lucky that we got Terrence HOH to maybe give some intrigue. I don't know. But yeah, I think with the knockout comp, especially like going into it, knowing how it was going to work, like it definitely sets things up a little too much for the majority alliance to just do whatever they want to do with it.
Did anybody see any interesting calls from the knockout competition in terms of what went down? Pooya, you got anything?
Yeah, there was one that stuck out to me, which was at the penultimate round when Michael has to pick 2 people to go. He ends up choosing Terrence and Jasmine to face off, which, yes, does guarantee that one of them are out, but then also guarantees that one of him or Turner are out, leaving one leftover, one non-leftover at the very end. Whereas he could have gambled it and had Turner face off against, say, Jasmine, so that Turner beats Jasmine, and then they could have guaranteed 2 leftovers. So that is the number one thing that I caught on.
Yeah.
I mean, we don't know what the reasoning was for that. Like it might, I mean, in a normal knockouts competition scenario, like that's obviously what you do when there's only one HOH. But when you're trying to possibly set up, you and your alliance mate to both be HOHs, and that, I mean, it's a risk either way. It depends on your confidence level that you can win it, and your confidence level in your alliance mate possibly winning. But we also don't really know for sure what Michael is going to do here. So perhaps he's like, it's not the worst thing if someone from the other side wins the other HOH.
Yeah.
I just think it was like a gut instinct of like, okay, there's 2 people from the other side, though, let's just put them up against them and we'll get one of them out. I don't think you have that kind of like I think your mind must be racing in that spot.
Right. So, the thing is, it's possible that he thought it through and that he decided like, this is a risk I'm worth taking. I'm willing to take because it would be super beneficial for me to have one HOH for me and one HOH for Terrence or Jasmine. But I kind of agree with Rob. I don't know that he had the forethought in that moment. He just ended up doing a thing that actually did end up benefiting him, I think, in the moment. I also thought that, again, Terrence choosing Jasmine and Joseph to compete was a weird choice from
for
Terrence.
Like the first round or the second round, I guess. Yeah. It was like super early.
I also thought Turner picking Alyssa and Terrence was a weird choice when Jasmine was sitting right there. Especially because Jasmine, if she had won, definitely, I think, is looking to potentially target Turner. And Alyssa would definitely not be looking to target Turner. So I thought that was a pretty big error from his on his end. Not that it necessarily would have made a difference, but it very much could have.
How did everybody do with spotting the VIPs themselves? I know that we did this competition during Celebrity Big Brother. I believe this was the Marry Me challenge.
Yes.
I thought this one was easier to play along with than the one from Celebrity Big Brother.
I was surprisingly good at it. I was like, there was one where they like were taking forever and I had gotten it within seconds. I was like, oh my God, it was such an ego boost for me. I felt so smart.
So I beat them all except for Michael. Out of the 3 times Michael went, I beat him once and he beat me twice. And those were the only 2 times I lost.
The pooch one was the hardest one for me because I was just so overwhelmed and like I was just not prepared for the oops all pooch round. Like,
yes,
I wasn't expecting that. It was a jump scare.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, they did say tonight that they were going to get into the BB multiverse tonight by splitting the house into two, and maybe like a universe of like all pooches is out there.
Oh boy.
I would not like to be on that universe if it exists. I'm okay with not being there. I'm happy with the universe I'm in. Thank you.
Yeah, my face was so close to the computer monitor trying to play along with this, but I did pretty good. Pretty good.
I think it's also probably worth pointing out we probably have an advantage. I think they're probably further away from
they
whatever
must be
they're
like
looking
what,
at.
like 25, 30 feet away from what they're looking at, right?
But do you think they have a bigger screen than we do, though?
Probably.
Is that where,
yeah.
Then
they
that's
probably have, like,
but it's all relative to how
matter.
close you are.
My face is an inch away, Pooya.
It's true.
I was not that close.
If Rob's if Rob's face is an inch away, then his screen is like the equivalent.
Like
like a movie theater.
Yes, I'm like in an IMAX.
That's honestly, Rob. I think that's too close. I think you're having to like scan your whole monitor.
Then you can only look at one person at a time.
Yeah, you went full Britney on that, Rob.
I guess so.
Yeah.
Forgot about that. Okay, so we will find out later on tonight into tomorrow. Of course, I didn't even set up at the top of the show. Live feed update coming up in less than 12 hours if everything stays on track. So hope that Taran and Pooya are in it for the long haul tonight. Then we will not have regular exit interviews now that we've reached jury. We are sending in questions for Indy that will get answered on video. We will figure out the best ways to show those to you, but Taran and I will review them on tomorrow's patron Q&A at 3 p.m. Eastern time. We'll send out the link to the patrons of RHAP as a podcast for that. And of course, you can come on and ask questions to us live at 3 p.m. Eastern as we are talking about the potential nominations for the split house twist. Okay. Prior to the newsy part of the show, we had a very, very lengthy road to get to the eviction of Indy tonight. Also, very uneventful, the departure of Indy from the house.
You didn't like her multiple speeches?
Yeah.
I mean, she gave a speech after she got voted out from the house. That was probably a better speech than when she was standing there on the block.
That one came from her heart. It wasn't prepared.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And not even like Julie, like I guess she knew the situation of like, hey, we're stalling tonight. She would like, when
going.
Yeah, we didn't get like Kylan, please come out now. Kylan, get out, Indy, we need you out here. It was let's let it run.
Indy wasn't about to get into a fist fight with anyone, so they didn't need to pull her out like Kylan.
I wonder if that was like timing wise. Is that the longest that it's ever taken for somebody to get out of the house? Like usually Julie says you'll have 60 seconds to gather your things and come out of the house.
It might be.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably up there. If someone wants to go back and time every single person.
Peridium. Can we get a video on this? The longest time
BB exit.
Longest BB exits of all time.
Free content to your inbox, Peridium. You're welcome.
There you go.
Yes.
Enjoy doing that research.
Get a stopwatch ready to go out there. But yeah, no, that was it took forever for Indy to finally reach Julie. And now, Julie, we can't even talk about like, did you know what Alliance is? It's like we just have to hear about everything that Indy is wrong about up until the goodbye messages, which I think was the only interesting portion of the interview. Before we talk about the goodbye messages, am I missing anything else that was interesting that came up?
I mean, first time we've had an audience in a couple of years.
Yeah, the audience was there, and I expected the house guests to really be excited about the audience, but I guess they've been new, Pooya.
There was not really any reaction. I mean, I'm sure they would have heard them, right? Is probably what I assume. They might have heard them. Maybe that could have been it. But imagine you're in the audience, first time in over how many years, and this is the first episode. Indy's the 1st
we're gonna be
boot.
there. The twist is happening. We're gonna know everything.
Watch a million clips of the veto punishments over and over and over.
Yeah.
Great.
Julie warms up the crowd. So do y'all like tattoos and punishments? Do y'all like punk music? Yeah. Yeah. I forgot there was one other part from Indy's interview with Julie that I liked when Julie talked about, like, I know you watched Big Brother Brazil. And she's like, yeah, but I don't like liars. And also, you don't have to lie on Big Brother Brazil because the audience does the voting.
It's the audience who decides who gets the money.
We tried that season 1.
I know.
Didn't work in America. Let's just put it that way.
Does she know? She
the
says
one time,
I know.
Yeah, it's the one time that production actually learned from a mistake.
Yes. Not since Chicken George was in Big Brother All Stars has Big Brother 1 been acknowledged in any way on the show.
Many years, yeah.
That's wild.
A significant acknowledgement by casting Chicken George again.
Yeah. And then, okay, everybody is giving their goodbye messages to Indy. And, after last week, we had Daniel, everybody's dragging him. Then these house guests start like laying it on so thick for Indy. We know she's going to the
I can't
jury.
imagine life without you now, and I really hope I can win this for the both of us.
Come on,
Indy,
Joseph.
I am so humiliated by you being outside of the house this week. You know that this was never what I intended to happen. I can't wait to be your friend on the outside. Put in a good word for me with the best sugar daddy in the world, God.
Yeah, so much restraint from Julie Chen Stu to not do that.
They wondered if Julie would be pissed at that. Actually, they've talked about. Do you think Julie's mad at us for saying this? But yeah, tell me you haven't watched Big Brother 19 without telling me you haven't watched Big Brother 19.
What, Tara? Why is Taylor humiliated that Indy got voted out this week?
Because she's still playing up that I think that she thinks. Technically, I'm telling the truth because I did want the veto to be used. I just did want to target Alyssa. But obviously, Indy's going to take this to mean that she's still lying to her about targeting Monty when she never intended to. Mm-hmm. And it's the same effect. She's still going to be pissed.
Yeah. Okay. Michael ends up dropping, hey, I've been working in the 7-person alliance. And then, we've talked about this before, but they must have a chance to watch it because Michael says, I'm working with Taylor, Monty, he's like, wait, hold on, could I get a pad? Could I write that down?
Because Julie's like, does that surprise? Like, are you surprised? And she's like, no, I knew. And I feel like the right question after that would have been, okay, who are the 7 people again?
Yeah,
He's
like, quiz.
Yeah, because
you
didn't know because you said Monty was Taylor's target a minute ago. You didn't know.
She's like, yeah,
you lied.
Kyle's a bad person, but Taylor really wanted Monty to go. Oh, but also definitely knew that they were in an alliance together.
Her intuition.
I knew my intuition was telling me, and I didn't believe it, and I should have, but I didn't. I did know, and then I didn't believe it. Stop it.
Whoosh. Yeah.
They always they get outside with Julia. It's like, oh, I knew everything.
People need to be like better at taking L's. You just have to sometimes you just have to take the L and wear it proud. It's okay. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you're wrong about things. That's okay.
You could be like, wow, oh man, wow.
Yeah.
It's better if you don't know. If you knew and didn't do anything about it, that's worse.
Exactly.
Yeah. We also, I guess let's just talk through eviction night's business, and then I think we still have a lot to talk of and make fun of from the other parts of the episode. Some interesting moments. We got some interesting shout outs across the way. First off, Julie opened the show tonight and said hello to the house guests.
Hello, house guests.
Hi, Julie and Rihanna.
And hi, Rihanna. Yes, I do hear she is a super fan, so hopefully she's watching right now.
Yeah. Leave Rihanna alone. She's going to get a restraining. She's going to stop watching the show.
I can't wait for Rihanna's next hit song as a super fan.
Yeah. Yeah. That Rihanna, that I gotta think this is a turnoff at this point.
She's
Right?
getting a restraining order.
Yeah.
A
This is like,
restraining order.
she's like, I followed one Big Brother winner once, and now they won't shut up about me. They won't leave me alone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she's like, stop snitching on me to the public. Like, I don't appreciate you taking this to the broadcast, but here we are now. She's busy. She don't got time for this.
Yeah.
I mean, I think, did Joseph shout her out in the diary room also tonight?
He certainly did in the previous, like Rihanna was one of the people that he shouted out. I think there were multiple Rihanna shout outs. They talk about Rihanna in the house. There's just a lot of Rihanna-ing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And yeah, I feel like, they think that Todrick Hall 2.0 is happening. They're sorely mistaken.
Yeah, you wish.
Yeah.
I would stop this.
They very
please.
much do. They've talked about it. They're like, oh, I wonder what famous person is going to invite us to their house after this.
She's got a baby. Leave her alone. She doesn't have time.
She is 1,000,000 times more famous and successful than Todrick Hall. She has no business hanging out with these scrubs.
You think Rihanna has an Amazon wish list? Please stop this.
Mm-hmm.
Her life's fine.
Yeah.
She's paying her rent.
Yeah.
Okay.
She owns her house.
So we got shout outs to Rihanna. Monty had a interesting shout out tonight.
Thank you. Shout out to my barber, Jermaine.
Pooya, is this a first that the barber shout out?
Did anyone shout out Joe from C? Is his last name Barber? That was a bad joke. Anyway, no, I think so. I think that's the first barber shout out. If I'd gone to a barber in the last decade, I'd also like resonate with this, but I don't because I haven't been to a barber in over a decade.
This was the only shout out of the night that I respected.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's better. I don't want you shouting out the same person every week. If you're gonna come in and waste my time, I want you pulling out random people like, oh yeah, like shout out to my second grade teacher, Mr. Smith. Hope all is well. Like, just make it ridiculous.
Yeah. Is Monty getting a free haircut?
You should hope so.
Yeah. A shout out on national TV better get you something. For sure.
Yeah. Didn't give like a website address or like how do we find
well, you gotta
Monty's
keep it
barber?
classy.
Yeah.
Thank you. Shout out to my barber, Jermaine.
Okay.
Who's cutting his hair? Do you think that maybe he's just like, I really miss my barber? It's like they're doing a terrible job in here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It definitely was better before I came in here. Shout out to Jamie. And then also Jasmine was back again to tell Julie just how good she looks this week. And Julie has an interesting response.
Hey, Julie, you look prettier than a country fried steak.
I was hoping you would say that.
Why were you hoping for that?
Have you ever seen a country fried steak?
It is not pretty.
It's not. It isn't even appealing looking as food. Let alone like wanting to be compared to one as a person.
Yeah, and before I searched it up, I was like, it's like steak. It's just right there. No, it's different. And
it's not breaded.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
chicken
like
fried steak.
Oh, I think maybe I'm thinking about. Isn't that the same thing though?
Well, is country fried steak chicken fried steak?
Oh,
when you Google country fried steak, chicken fried steak comes up.
Okay, I think it is the same thing.
Oh, it's the same thing. It's the same thing.
Yes. Yeah, I believe it's
Point
the same
remains, thing. It's not like a visually appealing food. It's a fried lump of meat.
Mm-hmm.
With like a sauce on it.
Yeah, like.
No,
there's a joke
Jenny.
here that I'm not going to do. Yeah,
none of us. We're not allowed. Okay, as a team, let's move past this.
We're growing as people. Okay,
yes,
trying to be better.
Yeah. Okay. Does the American Heart Association what's their feeling on country fried steak?
I think they're out on it. Probably
they're out. No good. Yeah,
we've had 4 now, right? We've had chicken wings, ribs. Was it apple pie?
Apple pie, yeah.
Apple pie.
I think this is the worst of the 4, if I would have to say based on aesthetic.
Yeah, it is getting worse.
I'm just imagining Julie with her like Ashley dream board, just like trying to like okay, I'm gonna make this happen. It's gonna be the country fried steak this week. I'm gonna put it into the universe. It's gonna happen. And then she was just elated when Jasmine said it.
I was hoping you would say that. That's what I was going for tonight.
I really was hoping you wouldn't go with the mashed potatoes because I'm so happy with the country fried steak.
Do you think that do you think that Jasmine comes up with it in the moment? Because I feel like I don't know. Okay, but hear me out. Julie was wearing like a very beige outfit tonight. And so I'm just wondering, like, does she see like what the garb is for the night? And she's like, it's giving country fried steak.
Yeah,
like,
but she's not saying it's giving country fried steak. She's saying it's prettier.
Hey, Julie, you look prettier than a country fried steak.
So
I was hoping you would say that.
So it's not like you don't look like a country fried steak.
But
You
like
are-
in the same, like, you're just a little bit better. Like, if you're still comparing, it's like prettier than that, but like that's the standard.
Well,
there could be some sort of, you know, mental association game going on based on what Julie is wearing. She maybe she needs, I don't know, like, do we want to mix it up? Does she need to be wearing like a taco dress next week? I don't know.
Taco dress.
Listen,
I don't know. Yeah.
I'll do
Manifest the truth, bro. Yeah.
I would like everyone on this podcast to know that you're all prettier than country fried steak.
No, thank you.
I should hope so.
What
Thank you,
about
Terrence.
It's a
am
low
I
bar to
prettier than
clear. Yeah.
plain
Hey,
yogurt?
Julie, you look prettier than a country fried
Let's not get
steak.
too
I was hoping you would
out
say
there,
that.
Jenny.
Yeah.
You don't
Sorry,
you don't
I
want to
shouldn't
know
have
the answer to
asked
this.
such a direct.
I don't know if you can handle the truth.
Wow. I'm upset.
Okay. All right. So we're having fun, but I guess let's talk about this first hour of the show because really, hopefully, unlike a your country fried steak, this was kind of a butchered edit here on this.
Can we
veto
also talk
yeah.
about the fact that not only did we have these shout outs, but they were like, you know what the fans love?
Yes.
Is when the house guests shout out people while they vote. What if we dedicated an entire segment of the show specifically for shout outs? Just we'll one by one ask people for their individual shout outs, and then that will give them the opportunity to do it again once they vote. So we have double or even really triple or quadruple the shout outs because we're really giving them a ton of extra time here. We're talking about like, was that the longest exit? I think this is the episode with the most amount of shout outs of all time.
Oh,
Iridium, get on it.
Iridium, get on it. Yeah.
We're just we're just taking a regular episode and then stretching it out. So we're hitting everything. We make the speeches a little longer. Okay, well, what else do we do? In the diary room, we're doing the shout outs. We need to make sure this goes as long as possible. Maybe they don't realize they have extra time, so we have to give them the dedicated segment so that we can fill the time. It's definitely what happened.
That's why Monty shouted out his barber. He ran through his initial shout outs in the first segment.
He's out of the good
like,
shout outs.
Who did I miss?
Also, my favorite part was Kyle got 2 chances, left his mom out of both shout outs. What does that say?
I put that in my notes. I was like, he didn't shout out his mom?
I mean, he knows. He knows the current situation, I'm
he
sure.
knows not to make eye contact with mom right now.
He should be shouting her out extra. Like he needs to be sucking up big time.
So I'm surprised they didn't do like current event. There must not be any good current events to talk about. And, checks notes. Yeah, that makes sense. Because I feel like this is like when they're really desperate to fill time. It's like, oh, okay, we'll tell you about some things from the news.
Yeah, like what do you think they're going to here?
Is there Rihanna news that she could have given him?
Yeah. So I don't know. Like I feel like that. I guess there must not be any big like entertainment stories or anything that they could have told them about in the house because they went with Julie doing crowd work, which was rough segment because you get to finally we're done with the recap of the week. And then only to just, nope, this was just a tease of Julie just, warming up the house guests.
Yeah, shout outs, punishment redo, and then the vote.
Yeah, when they ran back the tattoos and the skid and fancy of it all a second time after commercials, I just about rage quit. the whole
Mhm.
evening. You might not have had me on this podcast. I was like, what
Yeah.
are we doing? We saw this already.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's go back to that first hour and talk a little bit about we run it back. We'll get to all the stupid punishments. But this was really from going back to even before the competition of what's going to happen with the veto, who's going to come down. We ended last night's episode with Alyssa did the thing where she took the trip away from Taylor. Okay, we need to get Alyssa up on the block. Kyle tells us that he's feeling like that they're trying to take out his game. And we're getting a lot of Kyle feeling like, I just feel like that, Joseph and Monty and Taylor are trying to strong arm me. I don't like my position in the alliance. And really, the drumbeat from social media all week is stop protecting Kyle. When are we going to hear about Kyle's thoughts about the Cookout 2.0? We get there eventually in this episode, but we don't get any of that in like the version leading up to the veto. It's only after that the veto ceremony happens, we have, by way of flashback, we get then a flashback back to Michael remembering about how Kyle told him this thing that he didn't agree with. Terrence, why would they do it this way?
I mean, so I think that if I'm trying to sort of like get what they're doing here, it felt more like an afterthought to me than it did like they intended to do it this way all along. It felt like, okay, let's give Kyle's perspective clean first, and then give you this like, well, it might look like this sort of perspective. Which to me didn't really feel like they necessarily agreed with that second perspective, more so that they just felt like they needed to throw it in there, which is certainly a lot better than nothing, but definitely felt like there was some whiplash from like, here is Kyle's perfectly justifiable reason to think they're aligned to, wait a minute, flashback to weeks prior. This is a not quite so justifiable reason to think they're aligned.
It literally felt like they were editing the episode as it was airing. Obviously, I know that is not the case, but it was almost like they were like, yes, this is our like storyline here. And then they like look at Twitter and they're like, we should probably throw in something. He said this how many times? I'm sure we've got a clip handy somewhere. Maybe we should address this. Social media is mad like we're not addressing this. It just did seem really weird how we're stringing Taylor and Monty and Joseph as a 3 all the time, and never also mentioning Turner, who was like another person in the alliance. We just kept seeing these conversations with Kyle and Michael and Brittany, and then the people that he kept mentioning in the diary room were Monty and Taylor and Joseph. No explanation for why those 3, and never mentioning Turner as another person in the alliance. We keep forgetting about that, and we, halfway through the episode get like this flashback. It just really felt like they were tossing it in last minute.
Yeah. And then we got it by way of Michael. I did say, like, leading up to this, like that I thought it was hard. That the challenge I felt like for the show was that until you have somebody in the diary room to say that Kyle has this idea, which is not true. If you just presented it to the audience, like Kyle saying, like, "Hey, I think that there's this other group that's like the Cookout," then you have people in the audience who are watching the TV show who think like, oh, is this happening? So I think there was a difficulty in that you needed to have a second person there saying like this, he is saying this, and I do not believe that this is true, but he is putting this idea out there.
And I think this is where the discussion came from when Michael and Brittany talked about it. After being in the diary room, I think this is why, right? They started asking questions about this so that they could put it in the show, which is what tipped Michael and Brittany off that, okay, this is a topic. It is something that they had like very loosely touched on before, but never talked about so explicitly on the feeds. And so all of a sudden they were talking about it explicitly on the feeds, and it was like, okay, did they get a tip off? Like what happened? I think clearly the producers were like, okay, we want this in an episode. We need them to speak about it openly. So they started asking about it, and then we got what we got.
And I also think that the issue has been for a lot of people have been asking of that. Okay, so Michael and Brittany are not comfortable with like what this looks like, but like, are they comfortable enough with, okay, well, like, you know, we don't agree with how this looks, but this could really help us out if this ended up going in this direction. So like, let's make sure, hey, we're not on board with what Kyle is thinking, but we definitely would be on board with like how if the leftovers were to break up because of this.
Which is still not like the greatest thing to be saying. Like,
yeah, obviously not. Yeah,
like,
not
it's
good.
not, yeah, it's like, oh, I want to. I don't like how this sounds, but gee, I sure would benefit from this. I just don't like packaging it that way. It's like, well, you're still supporting the idea, and like you're complicit in this, especially if you're, you know, sitting in on numerous conversations. Like how many times did this conversation take place before somebody starts piping in and being like, yeah, this optics, yeah, it's not looking too good. Like that's the frustrating thing is like, okay, I definitely think, you know, diary room interference, if people are, you know, being terrible and, or, you know, like saying bad things, like I think that there is a responsibility of the show to like protect people in the house as well, and not let things get out of hand, and check people when they need to be checked. But I also don't love the fact that, like, you know, production is potentially just being like, hey, you know, you're making things not look too good here. Do you want to address how this looks? Like, and tipping people off to, you know, how they are treating Taylor and how that looks. And now the optics of the Cookout 2.0 alliance idea that Kyle has come up with. Like, it's just hard because I don't love that it's taking potentially production having to step in to get people to like address it. It just doesn't feel natural.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of people talk about like, well, like obviously the Cookout worked together last season. What's so wrong about Kyle thinking this is something that might happen? And like many things, because first of all, it's not correct. They're not working together. So he's taking an incorrect read based on these fears. And then he is not only having that incorrect read, he is then going another step and organizing all of the rest of the white people in the house to align together to target the people of color because he assumes that they are working together when he is incorrect. So that by itself, really bad. And then add on top of the fact that like you can say, oh, because of the Cookout all you want, but this is behavior that we have seen long before the Cookout ever existed. In fact, it's the reason why the Cookout existed is because these things already happened before. That it maybe there wasn't a Cookout reason to point out specifically, but it always oh well, you know, these two black people are definitely working together, right? So obviously, like this isn't like, oh well, he obviously should think this because of the Cookout. Like no, this is one in a long line of times that this has happened. And if you're ignoring that, then you're ignoring what this show has been shoving in our faces for 20 years.
Yeah, and then we come out of that segment and then go into Kyle and Alyssa stuff. And then Kyle has the gall to say this.
I really like Alyssa, but I know the more time I spend with her, the less time I have on the Leftovers Alliance, and the optics are just bad.
That's the optics you worried about? That's what looks bad?
He actually just had heard the word optics from Brittany, and he's like, "Oh yeah,
That's a fun, neat word. I'm gonna
I
use
can
that
use
in
that.
my DR.
yeah."
Mhm.
I have a time that this will come in handy.
That's a
Mhm.
fun
This
word.
situation.
Right. Right. That's where I'm gonna use this.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also like we also didn't get anything about the intrigue around that Kyle and Alyssa's additional entanglement that also came up before we got to the veto. The show didn't include, like, I'm not asking for anything graphic, but Taran, it certainly did make things more interesting when it came down to them wanting him to use the veto on her.
Yeah, I was wondering if we were gonna get a timer at any point that's in the episode, just unrelated to anything else. But we didn't. So we'll see. We did get a segment specifically about the have not room. It just wasn't the one I was expecting. It was Brittany hiding from the noise.
Very quiet there.
Yeah, and it's generally pretty quiet there. I guess if you haven't been keeping up with the feeds, that Kyle and Alyssa have officially consummated their relationship multiple times now. That they're all boyfriend and girlfriended up. It did happen both prior to and after the official boyfriend and girlfriend proposal.
Nice. Okay.
That
So
didn't sound that nice, Rob, though.
So yeah, this was something that was part of the impact of Kyle not wanting to use it, and it was also something that was told to Turner, who was like, "Oh, no way he should use the veto to send her home after they got closer like that."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
and we also could have, again, I don't know how you show and explain all of this, but there's the Alyssa telling Turner of it all and him being in on it would give some context to their Alyssa and Turner's relationship, because we get a point later on in the episode where Turner says that Alyssa, he actually has a pretty good relationship with Alyssa of the other side. And it's like, I feel like up until this point, we have been given no content to really know this. So I think that like knowing a little bit about Turner's relationship with Alyssa and the fact that she's like confiding in him about Kyle is like kind of an important thing to get like an idea of Turner's relationship with her.
Well, Turner already has a task on the show, and that is to make fun of Jasmine every chance he gets.
Yeah,
and he's doing
occupied
great.
with that
he's doing
dynamic.
great, sweetie.
Yeah.
Yeah, they almost love Turner's fake Jasmine's expressions as much as the real Jasmine expressions. They get to double down on them.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, it is one of the best storylines on the show.
Oh yeah, it was it was easily the only thing I allowed from 10 p.m. onwards outside of the vote. I was like, okay, this is good. Don't give me the redo of the task yet, please.
Yeah. Big Brother production also plays Big Brother because they're hyping Jasmine up in the diary room like, oh, the fans are loving your sayings. They're loving all this stuff. And secretly, they've got Turner in there. Oh, the fans are loving you making fun of her sayings. This is so great. She's going to feel so betrayed when she gets out of the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We need, this is the final two we didn't know we needed, right? Like we need to keep this dynamic going.
Yeah.
Till the wheels fall off.
Yeah. At the very least, hopefully they're on the same side of the house this week.
I hope
so yeah, we can get more of that. All right. We had so many punishments in this, and maybe they knew like, hey, we got a 2-hour episode. Stack the field with the punishments. Okay. First, we had Indy with the punkatard, and she had to play the punk music and sing the song, and I really just had at the moment where I'm watching this, I'm like, what is this? Why am I even watching this?
What even were those songs? Like,
what are these songs? Like, I smell.
Was there one that was You Smell? Yeah, like
yes.
This is terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is like an old person's idea of what punk was in the 70s,
Yes.
and it's wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm just happy that they didn't include any of this on the feeds. Finally, I can say that we're looking out for us because my God, a lot did not love this. But also, why couldn't it have been like an actual song? You know, like something good.
Like
It was just noise.
Like Otev had real like country sounding songs. Like, if you're gonna go with a punk theme all week, like know anything about punk other than who Sid and Nancy are.
Yeah, and that was a terrible choice.
Yeah, maybe not that. Like, don't even do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then we have the skid and fancy punishment, which is such an obscure thing. Okay, this is such an old reference. I don't even know what this is. Okay,
I was told what it is. I have no idea.
I don't know. I've never heard of Sid and Nancy before.
Okay, my mind is blown about that.
That's how old this is.
Yeah, I had no idea.
I'd heard of it. I didn't know what the end result was though.
Yeah, it's not a great story.
I just knew the names.
What are we? What are we doing? Who's coming up with this?
People that aren't doing a quick Wikipedia search.
Yeah, and they let them, like, this is the thing too, is that like they let Taylor just full on say in the diary room, like, yeah, they're two punk icons.
Okay.
I guess the definition of icon is open-ended, and you don't have to define what that truly means and whether it's
she doesn't know. That's the like
a pairing you want to. Yeah, well, that's the thing. They're like setting her up, but I truly think that even like the whole crew has no idea. Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, Sid and Nancy, that's a punk thing, right? Like, so none of these people know anything.
Do you think they really wanted to stick to the names, like, because like it could have just been two people who are like into punk that are like do you think it was 100% behind they wanted them to do accents, like, and that's all it was? Because you could have easily made them do it for no reason, but like, all right, Joseph, you're doing a British accent.
Yeah.
And Taylor, you're doing a New York accent.
Honestly,
good luck.
You would need to take the psychedelic slop to get into what came first. Was it Sid and Nancy? Was it we need people chained up? We need people doing accents? Was it the wigs? What came first? We have no idea. We'll never know. We can never get inside the minds that came up with Skid and Fancy. And the worst of all was then they had to do the accents, and it was never ending. And then they were not only just doing them on the show, they were doing them in the diary room, talking about things. And it was so rough. It was so rough. I have a clip here.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. All right. Here is Taylor as Fancy Nancy from the episode.
Lending Tree found Linda all kind of personal loneliness. I thought you had to be a big spender to get that kind of legal tender. Nah, they got a contender for nearly any agenda. Thanks, Linda.
Oh my God, Taylor. Lays
I don't get this commercial, and I know too much about it.
See this, okay?
Rob. Yeah. Too Splenda. Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
I surrender. I'm going to find a Lenza. Good. You know, I'd love a cup of coffee. Too Splenda.
Coffee?
Come on, Taylor.
Here's the thing. I actually think this worked in the episode. It was pretty lame on the feeds, though. Definitely not needed for a full 48 hours.
Wasn't needed for a full 48 seconds.
What was it that you didn't like, Taran? Tell us what you didn't like about the accents.
On the feeds? They couldn't talk to anybody. Because, like, first of all, being chained up by itself prevents you from talking game most of the time. But then they also had to speak in accents the whole time. So they basically were just out of commission for 2 days. Like, I thought it was a funny segment on the show because, like, the accents were terrible. I actually thought that Taylor's was not that bad. But Joseph's was really bad. And it was pretty funny to watch Joseph, who's normally like a big talker, like have to sort of like filter through an accent. But I think it was too strict and it went on for too long.
Like many things. Yeah.
Except
Yeah.
for Kyle.
Yes.
There we go.
Okay.
There we go.
And then I actually thought of the 3 punishments. Terrence getting the tattoos was I don't know if it was just by comparison that I was like, oh my God, this is the best of the bunch.
Oh no,
It irritated me the least.
Yeah. Yeah. It was worth it, Taryn, for butt first.
That's the one I was about to say. That was phenomenal placement.
The butt first tramp stamp was everything. It was worth it, I suppose, for the rest of it. Why was like the cheek one of the first ones he did? Like, I don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, if you know you're gonna eventually have 182, don't you think you wait and do the ones on the face?
I think
like, I don't know.
Last, but
I think he was just excited about the face. I think he thought it was going to look great.
My favorite thing,
the biggest tattoo is like a big.
And Jenny, his shining moment of the season, winning HOH with all those tattoos, with the big tattoo on the face. This is his moment.
He loves it though.
Yeah.
He's into it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he said it's not DJ Showtime, it's DJ Hard Time.
Like he's putting those tattoos on in the bathroom like all day long, and like by himself is like, yeah, look at me. Like he loves it.
He loves it. Why didn't you like it, Taryn?
I just like watch a guy put tattoos on himself for 5 minutes.
You're not a tattoo guy, Taryn? Like generally?
I'm not a temporary tattoo guy. There's something about the tearing off the skin that just like creeps me out. I just don't like it. I didn't know that I had this until this happened.
Tearing off the skin.
Yeah, why did you tear off the skin?
The skin
You're just like
stays
peeling
on
it
your
off.
body.
You're peeling it off, and then it stays there. And now you're just covered with these things. And it's like in Goldfinger when like she's covered in the stuff and she dies.
It just flakes off.
Do you think
Taryn.
Terrence is gonna die?
I'm concerned.
Boy,
I think his skin is gonna be okay. He's gonna be all right.
I
He
mean-
comes off with soap and water.
that'd be a hell of a way for the Big Brother franchise to end.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the punishments just went too far. They lost somebody from the overdose of the temporary tattoos.
What would you do if I tattooed you?
There's gotta be other bands that that have a number in them that they could have gone with, because all of this for the Blink 182.
182.
True.
Mm-hmm.
Had to be 182. Had to be.
Yeah. Okay. So that was Terrence with the tattoo. So I really, again, it was like in the kingdom of the blind. Like I feel like that this was the man with one eye, the Terrence getting the tattoos.
One eye because he's a tattoo like covering one of them.
Yeah. Okay. Any other moments from this episode? I would say highlights, but I'm not going to use that word.
Jasmine's birthday, Rob.
Oh, Jasmine's birthday. Yeah, that was fun, but really just to get Taylor or Turner to say that he did not have any nice things to say for Jasmine's birthday.
It's wild behavior. It really is to make people say nice things. You initiate it is wild to me. I could never.
I've seen it go the other way around, which I think is so much nicer when someone is like the guest of honor at some sort of party, and then like all of the people that they invited. Like I went to like a Galentine's party once, and my friend who hosted it, she went around the table and she like said why we inspire her, and it was like that is such a nice thing to do. Like, why are you inviting people to your birthday expecting gifts? Because apparently she was asking Turner what he was going to get her.
Jenny.
She somehow got a card. I don't know what kind of guilting had to go into getting the card. And then asks the guests, yeah, can you say something nice? Actually, 2 things that are nice.
Love about me.
Say
the
nice
audacity. Not 1 thing, 2 things.
Yeah, 2.
Top 2.
Top 2 things. Yeah.
I'll let you narrow it down.
There's too many. I can't narrow it down.
Well,
Hard for me to sort it.
Jenny, I love the lights behind you. It's very angelic. Big fan.
That is definitely a trait of mine.
Mhm.
I'm feeling like a real compliment to me.
I also love your nail polish.
Yes.
Thank you.
Great
Shout
color.
out to Sarah who does my nails.
Oh.
We got to
Shout out
give
to our
shout
nail
out
technician.
to
Yeah.
our
Yes.
care people. Yes, yeah.
And Jenny, I always love how you make bad television so much more fun. So it was so appropriate that you were here tonight for this episode of Big Brother.
It's like they knew.
Yeah.
They knew that I was going to be on. They said, "Okay, let's
Look,
an hour and a
Jenny
half.
caught a break with claim to fame actually being good. Give her the bad night of Big Brother.
Got too much nice things going on. Yeah.
Too many good things. Okay.
So just the one, huh?
Mm-hmm. Let's take some questions from the audience. Shall
Are they
we?
all why?
Okay. All right. Let's see. How about Brett wants to start things off with, what about wall yellers, Rob? Uh-oh. Has production left themselves vulnerable this week, Taran, to that we saw all of the chess segments? Has production left themselves with their in a potential checkmate from the wall yellers?
Yeah, I can't wait for the wall yellers to help Terrence out with his HOH.
Yeah.
They're all lying to you, Terrence!
DJ Showtime. Okay. All right. Okay. How about all right. The question, do you think that Michael spilled about the leftovers in his goodbye message as a way to push Indy to walk out of the jury house, since Brittany and Michael talked about her leaving the jury might benefit them with America's vote? Well,
No.
I don't know if she's going to vote for them. Why would she turn it over to America?
I think this was always going to be what Michael's going to do in the goodbyes. Like, Michael is someone who's watched the show. Like, he knows to
super
give the
fan.
information. Yeah.
I don't need to continue lying to you.
Yeah, that's like 17-dimensional chess. Like, if we do this, it'll push her out of the, like, come on.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. How about from D. Matina, who wants to know, do you think that Michael wins the HOH if he didn't know about the twist? Okay, so if this was the normal round of 10, is Michael going for HOH in this spot?
I mean,
he shouldn't.
He'll like, I think he survives until he sees who's left and then he throws it, is what I think would happen.
Yeah, I think it's kind of tricky because Terrence is still in the comp, and I think he just voted against Terrence, the one vote. I think he's probably a little concerned about that. I think he'd definitely be tempted to throw to Kyle, but honestly, considering the choices he's made in the past, I think he probably just still goes for it because Terrence is still there and he's worried about that Terrence HOH.
Okay. Our great friend Maximus Mom wants to know, what do you think will happen with the backyard cooking and the bathroom for a week? Now, Taran, we had been speculating about, like, okay, well, maybe will they do a shift where, okay, each side of the house is going to be, okay, they'll be inside for 6 hours, outside for 6 hours or whatever, and switch off. But they are very clearly the inside groups and the outside groups. So what do we think will go on in terms of like the basic living?
Team porta potties.
They have the porta potties ready.
Yeah. Uncle Austin's porta potties and bad sandwiches. That's what's happening this week.
My God.
The trick is that there's actually going to be 5 porta potties, and only one of them doesn't spit blue goo in your face when you walk in.
Yes,
that's
of course.
the HOHs.
Yeah, the Big Brother porta potties are rough.
It smells worse than a porta potty at the Jersey Shore after an all-you-can-eat wings competition. I mean, this thing is disgusting.
You look better than a chicken wing in an air fryer on the Jersey Shore. Okay.
Oh, gosh.
It'll be interesting. What are they going to do for food?
Throw a grill out there.
Throw a grill? They're going to barbecue?
Honestly.
Yeah.
Do they have like a bar fridge they can bring out there?
Honestly, or just like, throw some slop out there.
Yeah.
You're having
oh my God, do you imagine they're on slop?
Mm-hmm. Oh my God.
I feel like you can give them a cooler and put some stuff in there, right? I feel like that's an easy way to do it.
Remember how slop was introduced in like the trough? Like in All Stars?
Okay.
Bring
leave that
back the
out.
trough. They've got
Mhm.
that somewhere in a prop room, right?
Okay. How about Wyatt wants to know, would Michael effectively try to get Alyssa in Terrence's group if he could get Jasmine in his?
So that is an interesting question, right? Because with Terrence being safe as the HOH, if Michael chooses both Jasmine and Alyssa, he has now perhaps inadvertently or perhaps vertently left 4 leftovers with Terrence as HOH, guaranteeing a leftover leaves. So he actually needs to make sure, if he wants to give the leftovers any hope of surviving this week, that he only gets one of Jasmine or Alyssa, but he needs at least one of. He can't let them both be on the same team, or a leftover is guaranteed to go.
Okay, question from Angel. Which combo of 5 makes the most interesting feeds? Could we draw up best feed side of the house?
Yes.
I think Terrence has to choose Jasmine.
Okay.
Which forces Michael to pick Alyssa.
Okay.
And then
Do we want Kyle and Alyssa
you're
together
making
or
2 sets
apart?
of best feeds, not just like all in on one side being the best, just amazing feeds.
I mean, ideally, right?
Yes.
Ideally, we get both sides good.
Okay.
We definitely don't want Kyle and Alyssa both being together inside the house.
Yeah,
with
100%.
only 3 other people being in the house. That is bad. That is a very bad idea.
This
That's
worst
too much
case
privacy. Too
Okay.
much.
So I think it's Terrence, Jasmine, Kyle, Joseph, and a 5th, maybe Monty or something. Or maybe it's yeah, I guess it
I
would
want
have to be
Turner
something
and
like
Jasmine to be together for
Yeah.
for feeds. So I think that maybe
Turner, maybe then?
Turner's the 5th.
I
one
kind
there.
of want Brittany not to be in the inside with Michael. I would love to
Yeah.
see that.
I think
split
that's
But
a
he's
Gary.
going
I
to
don't think
pick
there's
her
any way to
right?
avoid that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, if we're being unrealistic, we can say Brittany gets chosen by Terrence, but I think probably we're in with Michael. But the thing about having Joseph and Kyle on the same team as Terrence is that they're going to be fighting to throw each other under the bus. Like with Terrence, like, hey, Kyle's gonna be like, Joseph has never been with you. He was never with, like, there was this alliance called the 5 Swatters, and there's the leftovers, and like he's gonna be doing everything in his power to get Terrence to target Joseph. Joseph is probably gonna retaliate and do the same to Kyle. It's gonna be a battle of just like who can throw each other under the bus harder. And I think that's entertaining. And then on the other side, that gives you Michael, Taylor, Brittany, I guess Monty, and Alyssa. And then I guess the question there is, is Michael able to take the shot at Monty, or is he forced to take out Alyssa? Things could get interesting depending on who wins the veto there. It's not like as good feeds over there, but it's still like a much trickier situation for Michael. I think, again, unfortunately, we're kind of stuck in a spot where, like, we don't have an optimal solution, I think, probably, because they are allowed to pick. But what are you going to do?
Okay. How about one from Romy? What are the odds of Michael and his group flipping the vote on a leftover member? Okay. Could we see a leftover person go out on Michael's inside side of the house?
Yeah.
Who would be the most likely person?
It depends on who, like, with the consistency of his group. But like, if he picks Joseph or Monty, I think those are the top 2 people that he would want to potentially flip the house on, or flip his group on. So in a spot where he does get Jasmine, Jasmine wins the veto. Okay, whoops, sorry, Joseph or Monty. Oh man, sucks. If he is forced to pick Alyssa, then maybe he also picks Kyle. You could see a spot where Kyle uses the veto on Alyssa and he forces Kyle to do it, or whatever. And then, oh man, sucks. Sorry so much, Joseph or Monty. I think basically those are the 2 spots. I don't think he takes the shot by himself. I think it has to be a Kyle veto or an Alyssa or Jasmine veto. I think those
like
are the only things.
Like a oops, my hands are tied. Otherwise,
Yes.
I do not see this happening, because he's going to be going into the next week one HOH, and he can't even compete in it. So that's the other thing we haven't talked about. In the final 8, only 6 people will be participating for the HOH. 2 people will be sitting out.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. And how about one last question? Jordan wants to know, was this the worst BB episode since the Ziggy Marley clip show?
That
Now,
was a
see, I don't
classic.
think it's fair
It was iconic.
to compare these to a clip show.
Yeah,
I
no,
think
100%.
that the problem here tonight was there were expectations. And the key to Big Brother is having no or low expectations. We can't, we need to put, so with all due respect to Daniel, we need to put the clown nose on because we came into watching an episode of Big Brother and expected it to be good.
It's a toxic relationship at this point, guys.
Biggest Big Brother twist of all time. And literally all week we've been saying, yeah, it's just opposite worlds.
They can't screw it up. This is great. Finally, we're eating.
Yeah, it's we do it to ourselves. We should be more pessimistic. We should not expect anything. When they hype us up, the more they hype us up, the more worried we should be.
Absolutely. Okay.
The minute they said Dire Fest, we should have known they know they're going to lead us down that. Oh, we think it's a festival. It is not.
Yes.
So.
Honestly, I mean, Pooya, this is the cautionary tale from a Firefest. We were like, oh man, this is going to be awesome. Ja Rule says it's going to be great. Let's all go. Clear your night. Let's stay up late. We're all in. And it's like we get there. And here's a piece of a white American cheese on a slice of bread with some lettuce, and this is what we're left with.
Yeah, we're saying we're eating, and Dire Fest said, no, you are not.
Yeah,
you are not eating.
Although in hindsight, if the food at Dire Fest is the catering from the actual Firefest, then that's fire. Okay, we're back in. We're back in.
Diarrhea is what it is. Yeah.
Oh, no.
All right.
Thank God there's 5 porta potties.
That was the foreshadowing from night 1 of the season, Jenny.
I mean, at least in this situation, if there are 5 porta potties in the backyard, that's more bathrooms per person than there is in the house. So the best place to get diarrhea is in the backyard with 5 porta potties.
Yeah, I will say I'm very surprised we still have fests happening. I mean, they're very loose, but
very loose.
Still.
Do we think that we see Kyle and Alyssa sneak into a porta potty this week?
Oh God!
I don't want it.
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if they're both in the backyard, that's their only choice.
Look, it's gonna bring a whole new meaning to the J Shack. I think we're
all right. Anything else from Big Brother 24 before we start to wrap things up tonight? Okay. All right. Let's talk about where we go from here. All right. We will wake back up and try again tomorrow. Of course, Taran and Pooya will get your Big Brother day started at 11 a.m. Eastern time with the live feed update. Anything we find out overnight, these guys will be talking about it tomorrow. Then we invite you into the conversation. Taran and I will be live at 3 p.m. Eastern for the patrons of RHAP as a podcast. RHAP is a website.com/patron. If you are looking for the invite to that, okay? And then we'll talk about everything that's going on, and we will review Indy's interview answers if we have them. Not to mention, of course, then we'll have more Big Brother coverage all weekend long, live feed updates every day at 11 a.m. Eastern time. Okay. Then we will have for you the slop will be back again on Monday night for the patrons. Mike Bloom on the slop this week. Should be a fun one this week. Of course, if you're watching the Challenge USA, that's been very interesting to watch along the way. Be sure to check out a episode recap, Jenny Autumn. It's my understanding that you will be with Brian Cohen and Kirsten McInnes.
Yeah, we actually recorded that earlier this evening, and it was a lot of fun. So check that out when it hits your podcast feed. Yeah.
All right. Check out the challenge recap. Plus, not to mention our exit interview with the latest team to go out on the challenge. Brian Cohen and I talked to them earlier today. Of course, Jenny, you and I had Josh Wigler join us this week on Claim to Fame as well.
What a dream. That was so much fun. Yeah.
Very excited.
We got Josh Wigler to watch a reality TV show in 2022.
Yes, we got Josh Wigler watching a reality TV show. Check that out, Claim to Fame. It was a home and home, and then I visited post-show recaps this week to talk to Josh Wigler about both season 3 of For All Mankind and to preview Game of Thrones. Check out Taran as well over on post-show recaps talking about Game of Thrones book club. Taran, what's going on in the book club?
We're gonna be talking House of the Dragon. We've got all the book knowledge to run through. It'll be very fun. I've always been a big Song of Ice and Fire reader, and fan of the first 4 seasons of the show.
Yeah.
So we'll have some fun with it.
It's a little bit of a Song of Ice and Fire this week on Big Brother, where there will be half the house baking out in the sun and the other house in the ice box.
Yeah, and hopefully it has a better ending.
Yeah, well, we can hope. Again, low bar to clear. And then, of course, Pooya, you and I also got to talk about 90 Day Fiance. We talked about part 1 of the tell-all. That's up at robbinswebsite.com. And then you will have part 2 of the tell-all this week.
I will. Your co-pilot on the Nothing But Netflix podcast, Chappelle, will be joining me.
Oh.
Yeah, he's currently on the
He
Dire
says he
Fest
wants
podcast.
to host the 90 Day Fiance tell-all.
I don't think he just wants to protect Jabri. I don't think we can do that. I don't think that will be good.
Yes. No, I think that Sean does a fine job of hosting, but maybe they could get Chappelle to replace those 2 guys that are just talking about it, everything that's going on and commentating.
Chappelle in the commentary booth, fire. That's why we're going to have him on the commentary booth of the podcast this week. It'll be great. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jenny, what's coming up for you?
Just the aforementioned Claim to Fame is we're still plugging along on that, and the challenge wrap up with Brian and Kirsten, and just waiting to see what Dire Fest is going to feed us.
Yeah. All right, Jenny, great to have you here with us tonight. Pooya, what else do you have coming up?
So aside from the podcast you have mentioned, Rob, I was a guest on the Perfect Match Married at First Sight podcast this week. Yes, with Jason and Asia. I was told, spoiler alert, longest one they've done this season so far. So that'll be fun. I watched it for the first time. I had a lot of thoughts, but it was a lot of fun. So we did that. And then obviously, got my coffee almost done here. Got a Red Bull in the fridge. I'm ready for tonight. We'll see how it goes.
Okay. All right. Good luck, Pooya.
Setting yourself up for disaster.
Well, I'm not going to have the Red Bull until the feeds come on. I'm smarter than that. BB Can has really taught me my lessons.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great job tonight. And then, Taran, what is coming up for you?
Of course, tune into the update tomorrow, the Q&A. Got some great stuff over there. Make sure you follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/Taran Armstrong, watching these episodes live with all of you. I released an Among Us video this week. One of the classics, a great Pooya moment.
Sweet memories.
Great Pooya moment. It's talk about whiplash. Pooya got some. So you can check out that video. It's called I Am the Ultimate Jester. Find it over on YouTube. And find me on Twitter at Armstrong Taran.
Right. And then speaking of games that we had a lot of fun on Tuesday night this week, got a bunch of survivors together that we have been testing out a brand new Jackbox games. It's called Roomerang. It's going to be part of the Jackbox Party Pack 9. I got the chance to play it live with a bunch of great survivor friends of the podcast. You can check that out on our YouTube channel or on the RHAP Twitch channel to see how that all played out. And thanks again to everybody over at Jackbox for making that possible. Thanks for everybody for staying up late with us here tonight. Thanks to the panel. We again made something out of nothing here tonight. Thank you for watching. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.